Welcome to the Lonely Entrepreneur podcast series called Perspectives. I am Michael Dermer, the author and founder of The Lonely Entrepreneur. For those of you who don't know me, The Lonely Entrepreneur was born from my own struggle of watching the healthcare business I built over 10 years nearly get destroyed in 10 days during the financial crisis of 2008. And it was my change in perspective that not only allowed me to rebuild and successfully sell our business, but also propelled my company to become an industry pioneer in healthcare. In our podcast series, we will help you with the one issue we all face, the struggle, by changing your perspective on the business and personal issues we all face. We will share parts of the Lonely Entrepreneur methodology, crazy stories from our journey, and interviews with well-known entrepreneurs. We've been in the trenches and know that passion and grit is not enough. Having the right perspective helps you be a better entrepreneur and can be the difference between success and failure. To learn more about how I overcame my struggle, or about the Lonely Entrepreneur book, our coaching programs, or our free blog, visit us at lonelyentrepreneur.com. And remember, the difference between success and failure is your perspective. I hope you enjoy this episode. This is Michael Dermer, and I'm thrilled to have with me today Dr. Joyce Knudsen. Dr. Knudsen is considered one of the world's leading authorities on personal self-image. Dr. Knudsen is the publisher of 10, soon to be 11 books, and holds the highest distinction in her industry, having been the first recipient of the Certified Image Master, the highest achievement in the image industry. She has regularly appeared in magazines, publication, and television, including USA Today, Glamour Magazine, the New York Times, and various publications throughout the world. Dr. Knudsen is also the CEO of The Image Maker and works every single day to help thousands of people throughout the world achieve their goals by improving their self-image. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, this is Michael Dermer from The Lonely Entrepreneur, and we're thrilled today to have with us Dr. Joyce Knudsen, who is many, many things, not the least of which is a PhD, an internationally published author of 10 books, and I understand working on 11th, an entrepreneur, and the CEO of her own company, The Image Maker. We're really excited to have her here today. So welcome, Doctor. It's great you could join us.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for asking me to be on your show.
My pleasure. So, what we try to do with The Lonely Entrepreneur is really try to get insights into helping entrepreneurs with the struggle. And I know you work with entrepreneurs every day, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about it a little bit later. But I'd actually be really interested to go back to, some of the struggles that you had to deal with. I know earlier in childhood, you had a vision impediment, and you dealt with a couple of challenges on that. Would you mind take us back a little bit to your childhood and just how you addressed and dealt with that?
Sure. I was born to a family of 9, and my father was a milkman. People think I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Not. My mother did odd jobs and tried to raise the children, but it was too difficult as there became too many children. So I became a mother at a very early age because I was the first girl, and she counted on me to do what I had to do, losing a lot of my childhood. I didn't get to go out and play in the yard. I didn't get to make a lot of alliances with my high school friends. But I felt that I had no choice, actually. I had to bring in money for the family.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. We're scattered all over the United States. A sister in St. Louis, sister in Cleveland, a brother in Cleveland. That's where I'm from. Everyone else is no longer with us. So we're all over 60, but still, to have a family live that long, up to 60, without any bad health, is really a blessing. So whatever I got in the DNA process, I'm happy with.
Tell me a little bit about the vision issues you had as a kid.
Well, I didn't know I had vision issues because I was a kid. And so I just noticed that when I was going to McDonald's, I couldn't see the McDonald's choices. So I decided that I had to find a way because I always find a way. Nobody can stop me from doing anything Joyce wants to do. So I just ordered a hamburger, French fries, and a Coke. And throughout my childhood, my very best friends tell me they had no idea that I couldn't see, except for the fact that I knew I was smart, but I was not getting good grades because I couldn't see the board. And so I knew I would be struggling with this the rest of my life at an early age, but I didn't get really diagnosed. I've gone to many, many doctors, and they all said, don't have children, they'll be messed up, you'll give them this condition. Turns out, I learned in my 50s, that's a long time for not knowing what you have, from an older kind of fellow who was an ophthalmologist, and he looked at me and said, I've never seen more than one of the cases that you have in my life. It's called uneven retina distribution. You see straight on. You don't see to the side, no peripheral, no depth. So my husband always tells me to close my eyes when I'm in the car because I'm saying, no, you're too close to the car. It's going to kill us, So I basically have learned how to make lemonade out of a lemon. I had everything. I was very lucky because I had so much more going for me than what I could see or not see. I've gotten this far with this vision, and really few, even in my industry, know that I struggled with this my entire life.
Certainly on a much more grandiose scale than the entrepreneur, right? But, the entrepreneur a lot of times feels like they're overwhelmed. They don't have all the things and the resources you had. It sounds like that for you, that was life for a better part of your early childhood.
It was, and actually, I've always been an entrepreneur. I do think entrepreneurship is in my DNA.
So I know that one of the things that you've talked about in some of the places that you've been interviewed is that the way you look at failure, right, as a starting point.
Right.
Obviously, your early childhood and your early adult life, in terms of all the issues that you addressed and that you not overcame but built upon. Tell me what you mean a little bit about failure as a starting point.
Yes, you can't be successful without having been a failure many, many times. If you do everything right and you're a success, or maybe in your mind you're a success, but maybe you're not really, you have to look at failure as a learning experience. It has to be something where you say, okay, that didn't work, and so let me try it this way. And you tried another way, and you kept knocked down and knocked down. Just for example, in my modeling career, you had to go to 25 auditions to get a part because it was a lot of negativity. And that's why it is lonely to be an entrepreneur and do things yourself. So I believe that failure is a springboard for victory. It's something that makes you stronger. It gives you a little thicker skin. I'm still working on that. I'm kind of like an emotional person and sensitive, and I feel other people's pain, maybe too much. But I learned over the years that where I had the biggest success was when I had a failure.
And, the perception of failure in the entrepreneur community is there's so many diverse views of it. When entrepreneurs are going through that and feeling the struggle, it doesn't seem like a springboard for their next success, right? And then when we all understand it a little better, right, we all do understand exactly what you just said about just how important it is. What do you find, we talk a lot about the struggle. What do you find in the different people that you're coaching and you're working with? Is there a common theme that you tend to see around, where they're struggling?
Absolutely. I feel that this is just my opinion and from my experience, but I feel like there are so many people in this world, and Maslow said it well in his hierarchy of needs, that have a very low self-esteem and don't do anything to fix it. I had a low self-esteem at one time. How could you have a high self-esteem if you're not doing anything to accomplish and to help other people? And that I really feel that the self-esteem is the reason why we have so much unrest in our country. There's people that need to belong, and sense of belonging is very important in self-esteem. And I do assessment work with my clients to find out where their self-esteem is. Here's where it's interesting. A lot of people don't want to know their results because they just want to be a follower. I'm a leader. I don't want to be a follower. I'm working on myself all the time. You know, when everyone went gray, I went brighter red on my hair. You know, whatever it takes, whatever someone tells me what to do and then gives me advice on how to do it, I do the opposite. Because I know myself and I know that I am capable of really great ideas and I want to be able to share them with the world. And basically, that's why I'm on social sites. It's not for me to have a lot of numbers. It's for me to get to know as many people as I can and have on her grave, she made a difference.
That's great. And you can sense just how much that's part of your DNA. I mean, it's almost like you liken it to the entrepreneur that finds his or her passion, right? It sounds like that you've really found yours. You're going strong and there's no end in sight for you, but tell me a little bit about some of the struggles and challenges that some of the women that you're working with of a certain age and how they fit into kind of the economy and entrepreneurism and how you work with some of those folks.
I feel it's very important for you to keep on keeping on. And a lot of people over 60, which in my book, Refusing to Quit, True Stories of Women Over 60, people they're kind of down on themselves. It's a mindset that when you get to be a little older, people say, well, I can't deal with, all this new stuff. Why not? Learn it. It's fun. Get help to learn it. And basically, that's what I've done. I haven't done anything anyone else can't do.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of the challenges of other men and women, especially women your age, and what advice you would have to them? I mean, obviously, it's some of the perspectives you shared already, but some of the advice about where they can go at that stage of their life to really be fulfilled and meet the level of success they'd like to meet.
First of all, they have to stop picking on themselves. Oh, I don't like my nose. My mouth doesn't have a big enough space between my nose. You should hear the things I hear. And so they have to, first of all, stop thinking of themselves as old, because it's been proven that an older person can do anything a younger person can do, maybe slower. Like I used to be 4.0 on the treadmill. Now I'm 1.0. And so whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You could keep your girlish figure if you work out and you try not to eat potato chips all the time and you stick some fruits and vegetables in there and try to just have a sense of humor and say, okay, these are stages of my life. I was a child. That was part of my life. Then I got married and had 2 children, which are 2 now older children. And then you're the grandmother, so then you do that. And then you say, okay, what can I do now to change the world? How can I be a person that can make a difference in a life? And then you get excited. Like I'm excited about Refusing to Quit because I have 50 reviews for this book that just came out this year. And people are like, they can't believe that I'm calling this the forgotten generation because all you hear about is millennials. You don't hear about us anymore, the people that were from the greatest generation. Someone named it that, but it's traditionalists. There's lots of names for each. The silent generation, you do what I say, not what I do. It's very important that we know and understand. So I had written a book a while ago, a couple of years ago, called The Generational Puzzle. And I got people from all over the world through my social sites to give me their stories. And I have people from 18 to 84, or I think there's some 94-year-old people in there. And so it helped me to understand all the various generations before. And I could just imagine how our parents felt when we did things that they never thought we'd do. And so I don't know what the answer is, except for that they have to refuse to quit.
Yeah, so much of it comes down to perspective. I know that one thing that was really interesting to me, my father recently passed away, and what I realized was that as your body gets older, right, the one thing that you do get along the way is wisdom, right? There's not a lot of wisdom when we're 20, right? And even though it sometimes parallels, the deterioration of our kind of physical self, it's that wisdom that comes later in age, right? That, like you said, if you have that can-do attitude, that wisdom is things that, looking back, I'm sure you say, wow, I wish I had known at age 25, what I know now with all the wisdom I've gathered.
Yes, many people that are older have wisdom, but not all. Some people have put themselves into a box of what they know, and they don't want to know. Just like in the self-esteem assessments I give people, they really don't want to know. And what they become in life are followers of somebody who does want to know, and not leaders. And I don't know, to me, there's only one life, and we live at a time when we can't build the business of tomorrow on the network of yesterday. I mean, yesterday was different. Yes, we had phones on the walls, and yes, we went to a payphone, and I've been through all that. And yes, I do have wisdom, but not all. Because there are some millennials I know that are just in their 35 that have great wisdom. So we can't really make a blanket statement, although I do think there are many more people with wisdom that are older than people that are not.
Gotcha. Makes complete sense. And really, if you think about the growth in entrepreneurism, all across different age ranges, one of the challenges and one of the struggles is you have disparate levels of education, disparate levels of understanding and experience. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you see in your clients when it comes to some of the entrepreneurial ventures and challenges that they face. I know we talked about self-esteem, but I'm curious if there's any other themes that you're coaching people around.
Well, definitely. I have a coaching program, and it's mine. So it's called Balanced, Balance System, and it's on my website. But I think always also that many people don't see a reason to stay ahead of the curve. I, every day, before I go to sleep, make a list of what I have to do tomorrow. And I don't go to bed. And for me, I'm working day and night. So that has to be after I've gotten a little bit of rest. But I get so excited and so passionate about what I'm doing. I want to find out what the next thing is. I didn't know how to work Instagram when I started. I played with it until I learned. Now my next one may be Snapchat. I don't even know what Snapchat is. So I'm not on it, but I'm not going to get on it. Here's the thing people don't do. They get involved in a business right away. They can't wait. But if you don't research what it is you're going to do, it's no better than if you're driving a car to a destination and you don't have directions. They don't have a direction. They don't believe in themselves. A lot of my clients can't make a decision. They have to keep thinking about it and thinking about it. There comes a point where you don't think about it anymore. You implement it. So there's a lot of talk and no action. So I have noticed a lot of that, along with the self-esteem, along with the unwillingness to go farther. Well, I've done enough in my life. I'm a grandmother now. I'll just go and give some kisses to my granddaughter or my grandson. I want to do that too, but there has to be work-life balance, and I know millennials are very much into that, but so am I. And so I'm definitely a horse of a different color.
Well, so if you could wave a magic wand and empower all of the different people that you work with and coach with to have one thing, what would it be?
I would tell people how necessary, this isn't something not necessary, how necessary it is to take a assessment on self-esteem, on leadership, and find out where you are. It isn't about other people. It's about who you are. Are you willing to, I guess I'm not really asking you this question, but I'm saying to your viewers, are you really to go through life not achieving what you could have achieved, not doing what you could have done? Having said that, I'm not thinking anything badly about just wanting to be a grandmother. That's fine. If that's enough for you, it isn't enough for me.
Well, listen, it's been a real honor and a pleasure. When you see someone like yourself that obviously not only just achieves success, but has such a genuine desire to give, and it seems like that runs through so many things that you do. It's really an honor to talk to you today. Can you just please let our audience know how they can find you, how they can get a hold of you, get exposed to your services?
Sure. Well, everything could be found out on my website, which I'll do in explaining it, because doctor is Dr. So Dr. Joyce, Joyce, Knudsen, and that's KNUDSEN.com. So it's just my name, but the doctor word is not spelled out. Everything is there. I'm working on it constantly, so you might go there today and next week it'll be different. But I'm always continuously growing because that's what I'm going to do. Someone once asked me in an interview, are you ever going to retire? No. Why retire and be bored and depressed and be around with other people that are bored and depressed? I think it's important to take an assessment, find out who you are, then let me give you the results, which most people don't. They get it, and they just look at it and throw it in the basket or something. But that's what I do to myself. I ask people, give me feedback. What can I do better? And with a vision impairment, it's really necessary for me to get some feedback on what it is that I'm putting out there. And so I thank you very much for having me on your show. I would have liked to talk more about the lonely entrepreneur because we are lonely. People are either envious or they are just not sure of themselves, and they think I think I'm all that. Nothing could be further from the truth. Tell
me a little about what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, our mission is to really help entrepreneurs and help them overcome some of the struggle and change their perspective. A lot of things that we're talking about. Tell me a little bit about the feeling you were just telling me that most entrepreneurs experience.
I think when you become an entrepreneur, you first should look up the definition of entrepreneur on Google and find out just what it is, because it isn't just working a 9-to-5 job. It's 24/7. It's your own schedule. That's nice. You want to take a nap at 3 in the afternoon? You take a nap at 3 in the afternoon. If you want to go to the mall, well, not these days. It doesn't seem safe. But if you want to go anywhere, you can go and come back and just have scheduled times that you're willing to work on a, say, Schedule Once calendar where people can contact you for consultations. I think that the main thing I want to leave with your audience is that it's very important not to stay in your industry alone, because you're only going to learn what you already know. We don't know what someone else knows that may help us. And so the social sites are here to stay. And in 2 years, 80% of people, if not more, will have their smartphones and be working from them. And it's time to get rid of the flip phone. It's time to get rid of the people that don't want to learn. And if you're not willing to do that, then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur.
Well, I think that just that notion of excitement, which obviously comes through in talking to you, and I think entrepreneurs should never lose sight of the fact that even with all the challenges and the struggle, we really are lucky to be working on something that we are really passionate about every day. So I can't thank you enough, not only for sharing your thoughts with our audience, but for all the work you do out there. And I look forward to watching you and learning more in the future.
Thank you so much, Michael, and I'm more than happy to come on again. I got a lot to say.
Thank you very much. It was great talking to you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Perspectives, the podcast series from The Lonely Entrepreneur. You can find this episode and the show notes at lonelyentrepreneur.com/podcasts or at lonelyentrepreneur.com in the menu section entitled Podcasts. Our goal is that each time you interact with The Lonely Entrepreneur, you gain a perspective that helps you become a better entrepreneur when you go back to your desk that day. To do that, we provide a series of tools at lonelyentrepreneur.com. Sign up for our free blog and receive a free daily perspective of the day. You can purchase the Lonely Entrepreneur book at our website and also on Amazon. And for those of you interested in our coaching programs, we offer a series of programs ranging from do-it-yourself to one-on-one coaching. Thanks again for listening, and remember, The difference between success and failure is your perspective.